morning, and been a while since you and I have talked as well. It's good to get caught up again.
Yeah, great to be back with you. I wish there was more to talk about in these grain markets. As you'd mentioned, it's kind of no new news across the wires. Everyone's kind of focused on this afternoon's eclipse event, apparently.
Maybe so. Yeah, I was talking to the cow guy before coming on. He said, "Mark, you're in a good week because there's not a lot going on before Thursday's crop report, and even the April. I want to just get your thoughts on that April crop report. It historically doesn't have a lot to show either."
Yeah, historically it doesn't, and we're just coming out of the prospective plantings report, which was just a week and a half ago or so, and now we've got another report in front of us. And you're right, historically this report doesn't have a whole lot to offer to the markets in terms of big surprises historically. Not to say that something can't pop up this year, but typically we don't see that. A lot of the focus, obviously, this time of year is on weather throughout the Midwest as we get a little bit deeper into planting season. We got crop progress reports that started last week. We have another one this afternoon. They're reported each Monday after the close. U.S. corn is expected to be 3 to 4% planted. So again, not a whole lot of new news to write home about there. But the deeper we get into planting season, the bigger emphasis and importance weather is going to play on a role in price action. So we're watching that new crop December corn contract pretty closely. I think it still remains arguably the most constructive from the technical standpoint on the chart. I think we're basically in a range 460 to 480. If we can get out above the top end of that range, I wouldn't be surprised to see technical buying and short covering propel us closer to that psychologically significant $5 level.
Yeah, you mentioned that planning. It's April 8th, not May the 8th, so 30 days more, and they'll be talking a different story. Let's go to the wheat trade here, and Oliver Slope joining us this morning from Chicago. Wheat up a couple of cents. The May up 2 3/4, 570. New crop July up 2 1/4, 584. Let's check the Kansas City trade. Tim, looking at some warmer temperatures there. The July new crop hit that one at 6 cents higher, 585 and a half. And then the Minneapolis wheat up in the northern belt, rather, that spring wheat should say, is higher by leading the way, actually, while the other is 7 to 8 cents higher. July new crop is that 7 1/4, 663 3/4. Anything in that wheat trade that stands out, Oliver?
Well, the wheat market has had a quiet, stealthy rally here over the last month. I mean, it's hard to believe we're about 50 cents off the lows from last month at this time, and we're making a steady trend of higher highs and higher lows. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that continue. $6 is obviously going to be a big psychological barrier for the market to get out above. Looking at that July Chicago contract. So I think the upward momentum can remain intact, but once we get to $6, I think it becomes a little bit more of a tug of war and a battleground area between the buyers and the sellers.
Very good. I'm going to give you a break and come back and put you to work looking at the livestock trade. Oliver Slope joining us here on this Monday. Back to check cattle, feeder cattle, and hogs after this. And looking at live cattle, first of all, Oliver, we were interested to watch what live cattle versus the lean hog complex. So let's get first and what the cattle are doing. Higher by almost 100 points now. April, the nearby 179.22. That not too far off their high of the day, 179.60. Now looking at the June, more active, $1.30 higher, 173.35, and again closer to the high of the day by far than the low. What do you think about the live cattle complex?
A little bit of a meltdown mode over the last 2 weeks or so, and I think a lot of that was on the back of a few different things. Seasonally, this is a tough time of year to be super bullish on the cattle market, so I think you had funds who had been net buyers for the first 2 months of the year, just kind of looking to trim that. And the headlines of the avian flu, regardless if they have a direct impact or not on the market, I think was enough to trigger some of that long liquidation from the funds. And I think going into the weekend, when you look at Friday's trade where we really rolled over, I think it was, who wants to be long with this headline risk over the weekend? So you saw the selling just really accelerate to the downside. The fact that we didn't get any really new developments with regards to the avian flu, I think you have a little bit of relief coming into the market seasonally. I still remain a little bit cautious here. I think the cash market is held in relatively well, though, considering the sell-off that we've seen in futures. We saw the 5-area average holding up in there near 187. So there are some positives to write home about, but seasonally, this isn't a great time. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the market just kind of chop around here and try to find its sea legs after the sharp sell-off.
And we saw the feeder cattle higher here as well. Before we have to take a break, I want to show the lean hog complex here, and while watching what it was doing, down 10 cents, holding on to a lot of the advance early. They made some highs late in the week. Real quick here before we take a break, your thoughts on that lean hog complex?
Well, apparently pigs can fly. Not necessarily today, but boy, did they have a heck of a week last week. They far exceeded my expectations. I think they may have gotten a little bit ahead of their skis there, so to speak, last week. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that June contract settle back in and retreat a little bit from these levels.
Very good. I like that. Well, always good to visit. Good to see you, and we'll be checking in here throughout the week.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Oliver. Oliver Slope from Blue Line Futures, and pigs can fly.